MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by the Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. All right, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Oh, the music in my ear too loud. All right, so I kind of made a last minute decision here to join the whole Vlogmas train. And so what I'm gonna do with this, just call it a series on MV3 Trader. What this is gonna be is I'm calling it Trademas. It's kind of like my version of Vlogmas, to where I'm going to be trading every day for the rest of the month of December live. I'm going to be doing it in a live stream. So still going to be doing the typical Mondays and Fridays FTR with the trader triggers and all of that, but I'm adding in some daily live streams for trading, you know, for this Vlogmas season that I'm calling Trademas. I'm just going through I was supposed to start this earlier, but you know, when you kind of just make those last minute decisions to change up the script, throws your routine off a little bit. So I'm just going through my checklist and making sure I do all my pre-market stuff first. So I'll probably do a little bit of narration, and it's because we're just gonna flow. I'm just gonna flow with however the frequency strikes. Decent volume this morning. We just crossed above, for NQ, we just crossed 100K. The aim is to start these around 9:15 every day ish. So if you didn't catch this one, and you know, because I didn't put it out early enough, I didn't prepare early enough, and all that stuff. You got a bunch of more days left in December to join in on the live fun. So let me got a couple posts I need to. Got to figure how I'm working on my pre-market posts and all that stuff. You know, I put my pre-market awareness every day on Twitter. I just lost that one. Just gotta make her, you know, minor adjustment. I kind of been feeling like taking my initial trade like after the first 10 minutes of the open, so I'm in no rush to get things started. That's just been how, you know, I've been vibing with the market lately. Let's see. Did my pre-market notes. Definitely recording. Volume check is done. Let me get my trade copier open. We had an interesting overnight session to where we started off in the bear zone. Started off with a little bit of selling. We sold back off until yesterday's like key inventory zone. Picked up some more inventory that took us up into some supply in the bear zone the bull zone to about like just over PR plus 4, which is as a price 590, kind of front ran 11,600 from the MNQ December perspective. I think rollover's coming soon because the Ninja Trader is already started to telling me to roll over my contracts. Wait a minute. Now I'm cool with being live, but this is not my regular. I'm just going 100% showing what I like. I'm just showing my full setup, but I gotta make sure I'm not showing those account lists. The account numbers. Oops, what am I doing? Looks like we got some retracement back into the MSRP zone right at the open. My trade bias is long. Got a couple more things in my journal I need to fill out before I get started. I think I got a trigger at 540. Well, no, that's already been triggered. So I did get a signal at 540, but that's already been triggered for me. All right, ready to go. You are getting a supply response off of automation. So today might be another one of those wide range days. Gives me a signal. Picking up some inventory. Yeah, a little bit of MSRP right there, right below about a 10-point range from VWAP. I'm not crazy about trading against VWAP. Kind of passively did that yesterday and took a small loss. In hindsight, if I would have been more aggressive, that would have worked out yesterday. All right, so we're holding some inventory down here around 520. I'm going to be patient for my setup. I kind of prefer, we have automation above us around above 540. And I kind of prefer to trade with automation. But I'm not against it. So, but right now, you know, we're seeing this inventory hunt. So I'm just gonna stay patient, especially since they kind of showed what they were about overnight. So I'm gonna believe them until they prove me wrong. Then we got a volume drop off right around PR 50. Was it below 508? Slowly hunting for cheaper inventory. Just in popcorn eyes mode. Getting sort of a mechanical response here where we have this slight volume gap. Next point that we've seen, you know, a ton, decent interest is around 495. I'm visually looking at a VPOC around, right above PR plus 1, 530. That move right there gave me an interest at 500, another whole number. It's a nice inventory response. Back to that inventory zone. We're just pushing right through it. Right, so kind of negotiating there. I'll be looking to see if we get back above 500. Still passively watching. Even though I'm being slow to pull the trigger this morning based off of what I've, you know, come to this point where what I like to see, but this is still tradable depending on, you know, what kind of plan or what kind of strategy and plan you have. And I'm saying that just to say, don't let no one tell you what's tradable and not tradable. If you see an opportunity, explore it. In my opinion, but I think that's just a recommendation. You do what you want to do. That was a nice season inventory response. So I'm calling that inventory zone season at this point. We've started to lift our supply zone. Gave us somewhat of a look below and fail, depending on how you're looking at that. How zoomed in your perspective is. So now I'm just looking to see if we continue to lift support supply. Oh no, I got the feeling like I missed something in my, I know I did all my pre-market stuff. Okay, I didn't paste. That's what I didn't do. That was a quick inventory response off of mechanically off automation.
Order submitted. Order filled.
That trigger was a bit high for me. Still getting an inventory response right there. We'll see if they actually give us a lift. I got triggered in where I would be actually looking to, if I was looking for a scalp.
Order filled.
To make sure I keep those losses as small as possible. That's one of those one I kind of had to take because I got the trigger, so I don't want to keep passing them up, even if it's going to be, I've set my strategy to where I'm not trying to trade without taking any losses or trade perfectly or whatever. Well, my perfect, I want to trade perfectly in terms of execution, so that's part of doing that, but I'm not trying to create this strategy where I'm not trying to lose at all. That's typically, I'm not saying it's not possible. Everybody says it's not possible to never take a losing trade. But the way that I would say it, with the amount of work that it would take to do something like that, because I keep my mind open to that all things are possible. The amount of work that it would take and energy and focus that it would take to do something like that, for me personally, it's just not worth trying to. That's gonna be a lot of delayed gratification, and you gotta take a lot of losses to get to that point to where you're no longer taking any loss. So it's not even worth trying to do it. And so we're starting to get another inventory hunt. And all of this, to me, Makes perfect sense by the way that it's traded so far. Kind of expected this kind of price exploration by Wholesale, just by what we saw overnight. Lately, they've kind of been, I just say everything that's taken place has made a lot of sense for me personally. Quick dip below PR -1. Our session low, interesting, around 440. So we got a ways to go before our session low. It's actually at like 435. Nice inventory lift off of -1. It was a quick inventory response off 480. Took us back to VWAP, where the last time we visited VWAP, we had a to the tick mechanical supply response. Starting to see a supply response here again. Let's see if we continue to maintain this range. So big picture, we have a supply zone around 520, right above 520 to about 525. And the inventory zone like 485 to 480. I really like taking supply off of VWAP. It's just a matter of seeing how long they want to keep that up, because they usually don't keep, NQ usually doesn't hang around VWAP that off or that long. They usually use that for a response, or push it right through and take business in the opposite direction. Still picking up supply. There we go. There's the supply lift. Took the elevator back into the bull zone. Question is, will we get a retest? Still riding the elevator. Got a ways to go before our session high. What will be fun to see if we actually start to make new session highs at some point today. We've got at least about 50 points before that we got to make up before that's even becomes a thing. Really, it's about 60 points. That push also put us back above our volume point of control. Still riding the elevator. Jumped on the stairs for a bit, or we took a break, let some people off, let off some inventory, and then we continue to take the elevator to higher floors. Just looking at where we are, we have automation below us at 540. Just picked up just saw a quick inventory response off of 550. And we're stair-stepping our way back into that little area of interest right before the bell.
Order filled.
That was sort of a late response on my trigger. I was trying to look at the big picture, but actually gave me a better feel for in terms of risk. Typically like to get more of a pullback. I want to make sure I stay consistent to the strategy. Kind of negotiating here.
Order filled.
What in the world just happened? It's like I may be having some kind of connection issues or something. I'm gonna have to having some technical difficulties. That's not cool. It's not cool at all. I have to check that out later, see what that was all about. See, they did shake me out. So that took us back to our session, or that took us to the session high. Session high is at 600. Just watching some negotiating here. And then there's the pop that lifted the session high. Still on the supply run. Now, before I took that quick loss. And so now that I got, kind of out of that moment where I got distracted with the whole, whatever my Sierra chart was doing, I was actually supposed to get in on the second rotation of that, or get back in, so to speak. And that would have been nice, because I would have been able to catch. I wouldn't have caught this whole ride. I would have, for sure. But just in hindsight, I would have been able to caught a nice little move there. Things happen. It's all good. You get these when you get these issues, these technical problems, you just deal with them, and it's next play. As got to keep a long-term. It helps to keep a long-term mindset, not get caught up in the moment of what just happened and what could have happened. It already happened. Let it go. Next play. It's like a really good, mindset to take from an athlete. We're at that 10 o'clock point. We always. I'm gonna hold that. I don't want to get too biased. I just say there's a presence that shows up around 10, regardless of if there's news or not. Sometimes it's before. Yesterday was slightly after. But there's typically an energy shift around 10. Now that took price back inside of automation. Kind of on the ladder. So it wouldn't be surprising, unless we jump on the elevator on the way down. Wouldn't it be surprising to see some sort of reversal at some point from this little micro phase that I'm looking at? So big picture, reversal will be short, but from a micro perspective, I'm looking at a reversal long from this little pullback we got. So after that break of the overnight high, we were coming back and we're retesting it, picking up some inventory off of the overnight high. So what does that actually mean when we retest something? So from a wholesale perspective, we know that a lot of people are going to be looking at the breakout, so to speak, that where we had the overnight high, and that created this point of interest for a lot of investors. So wholesale is their main customer, their main point of focus is other investors, right? So knowing that people will be looking at that area, if they needed to get more inventory or the inverse, more supply, they can, work they can work whatever inventory that they have, their warehouse, so to speak, in a way to where it gives them enough of a budget so they can bring price back to that point of interest, and then they can pick up whatever they're looking to pick up at that point of interest again, because they know that there will be participants there. Just from general trader psychology, investor psychology, how most people have been trained to participate in this environment. So in retail, it does help to, as a retail trader, it does help to understand that. And you can either find a way to play along with it or go outside the box and use it for your advantage. Once you can kind of see it clearly in the way that you see it. We got this little micro shop here, right there. It's seen between 624 and 630. I'll be looking to see how we come up out of this. That little move right there can kind of be looked at as a look above. Let's see if we hold it or do we fail. And I'm kind of hands off at this point because of all the distractions and everything. I don't want to, just understanding, what's happened before. And plus I'm not getting any signals anyway, so like anything that I want to participate in or anything that I haven't been signaled or triggered into anything yet. Since the dust has settled from that distraction. Now, since we did kind of build some inventory off of that PR plus 6 area, if price does pull back there, that could be a point of interest. Put some more inventory. We also did create some quick inventory off at 630. So that gave us about a 5-point inventory range if they want to bring it back there. They're continuing to search for more supply. Continuing to lift supply. There's a supply response that you would expect to result in a reversal. If it doesn't, then expect, at least a brief moment of momentum, but we got the reversal. Now, how far did they take that reversal? That's the big question mark. But they've already made the move off of that supply response. Look at that first point of inventory at 630. We picked up some quick inventory. We also have automation there. Sort of drop in inventory. Just gonna call that a negotiating phase there. we're slowly getting that inventory lift off of that 630, taking us back to supply. That supply zone actually starts at like, well, where we just saw that, what is that, like 639? Yeah, 639 to the tick. We're still, like, we've been mechanical pretty much all morning. It's the negotiating where it gets tricky. Not a ton of participation. So, you know, every time we come back to one of these points of interest and we just hang out right here, that kind of, you know, it makes sense. So there's the bottom of that inventory zone to where we got another inventory response. Let's see how far they want to lift off of that inventory zone. So far we've got about a 5-point lift. So this whole phase right here, we're budgeting our wholesale. I'm reading this as wholesale is budgeting. And dang it. Also forgot, I forgot to do one thing before I started this stream. But so that'll have to be, well, that'll be for the next one. It's also supposed to go live in the Discord. I just have to remember that for the next time. The results of last minute decisions. So we are getting a lift back to that supply zone. That happened with some chop. Even though I set that out, that was highly tradable from my perspective. Just would have had to, well, I would have had to kind of play an audible. Wasn't the best setup in the world for me. So it would have been more of an experience play, more so than a, you know, system-based trade if I would have traded that. Just doing a review in hindsight. The hindsight capital review. Another reason I'm kind of still passive. Well, I'm at the close of my trading window now, but still feel myself holding on to some of the frequency of trying to understand, you know, curious about what happened with that, about what's happened, whatever happened with Sierra chart earlier. Well, that Sierra chart install, it didn't happen across the board. It was only that one. So I'm thinking there was a data issue, or I lost data for a minute. But I got to go back and look at the logs. So just understand, you know, being aware that I'm still holding on to that, you know, and historically that has led me to make more mistakes. So, you know, relatively, this is a red day for me, but it's a small red day. So it's better for me to just cut the losses here. Clearly, I clear that energy away, and then I can come back the next day and fresh. And I don't really, also, I don't like to look at it as making up for a loss or getting something back. It's just another day, another opportunity. And then once things, everything is said and done, if I did what I was supposed to do, I'll be on the right side of my P&L. So it's not that I'm trying to make back any losses, not making back any losses. I'm just taking advantage of the wins that when I do get a win, I take advantage and I stick to the strategy, maintain good risk management, and all the things, right? All right, so that move right there, we took the elevator to lower inventory, started to pick up some volatility, which makes sense because we set up that shop there between, just for easy points of reference, PR +6 and +7. And that would be a break. So every time we get a break, it does make sense that happens in with some momentum because of stops and all of that stuff. It just becomes a thing of how long does the momentum last. And so far, that momentum at best stalled, so it didn't last that long. Still trying to go back inside that shop, as if we just dropped the inventory, picked up some cheaper inventory. Still dropping inventory. Okay. While it's doing that, let me go ahead and draw out some triggers, some hindsight capital triggers. Hindsight capital. Actually, I can extend this out. So for anybody that stayed around for this long, appreciate you. But I'm gonna actually go over this one where I should have. I'm gonna close it out on this one. But I'm gonna drop this gem at the end for anybody that hung around this long. The one that I should have caught, I think it was right here. Yeah. So I did get a signal right in there, right? Now, just following price and from this perspective, this is a 1024 what is it, numbers or bar numbers? Let me see what it's. Yeah, numbers trades by bar. So I have this chart right here set up, numbers trades by bar with that 1024. So I've been watching this is I will get a signal based off of a response, right? So I'm going long, I'm trading long here, so this would be an inventory response. And then once I get that signal, what should happen, one or two things is going to happen. It's either going to continue going in that direction, or it's going to go back to, you know, below the low of that, where I was initiated into that position. So that's what I'm looking at. And then, so I got stopped out, but that would be the first rotation. So the second rotation is if we come back above where I initiated, right? And well, where I initiated plus the high. So if it goes back into that, and what I'm going to call the third rotation, then that significantly increases the probability that price is going to continue in that direction, right? Now again, there's nothing that's 100%. That's not a 100% thing, but that does increase the probability that price is going to continue to trade in that direction. Now, also the main variable in that is you don't know how far it's going to continue in that, you know, in that direction for that third rotation. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to get some sort of continuation. And then at that point, you can kind of choose technical levels as a target, right? Or you can follow price, because there's a certain way that it prints, you know, from that, from that point, from that, the initiation of that third rotation, to where you can kind of follow price and you can trail your stop and you can get out by trailing your stop. So just want to throw that quick little, I want to review it for myself, to be honest, and then but since I'm recording and I'm doing this Trademas, and I might as well show it, especially for anybody that hung around this long and that might have been curious. Maybe, you know, that can, you know, whatever it means to you, it means to you, right? So that's gonna, you know, end my session for the day. Overall, for me, I would say it was a good session. I was patient where I needed to be patient. I followed my plan and just had that one little distraction that kept me out of that position there. But other than that, in terms of my performance, you know, I'm gonna give myself an A. I don't, you know, that's the grade I'm gonna give myself. So with all that being said, I hope everybody have a good rest of your session, the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Trade it easy.